Let's do this thing. All right, so we want to implement eval. I already have eval implemented as normal mode, but I need eval. Like, eval only works at the global scope right now, the top level, as if you were at the REPL. So if you're within a module, I don't know, we'll come up with an example. So if we come up with an example here, say like touch foo. What? As it turns out, apparently everyone who uses Steel lives either in Singapore or Europe. I have no American viewers, no American users, excuse me, and therefore also no American viewers. It's crazy. There's a whole section of the world just they don't care about Scheme. I would stream. I would much prefer to stream in the middle of the day, but I have to work. But maybe on the weekends. Maybe on the weekends. I would probably agree with that. Although I went to Italy for my honeymoon, and I missed America. But it was cool. I had a good time. But there was just something about home. I missed it. It's gone for like a couple weeks. Didn't meet a single person who talked about programming languages, though. Turns out, if you're just sightseeing. Okay, eval. Why are you up at 4 a.m.? That's crazy. Okay, so I'm trying to do eval with namespaces because the way I've implemented eval is kind of whack relative to I think the canonical implementations. I think the canonical implementations often. Oh, well, there you go. And all my when I was in school, all my classes started at like 9 a.m. I had to get there bright and early. Okay, so eval goofy. Eval kind of goofy. I don't have like an AST evaluator. I simply invoke eval by compiling it as if it was at the top level, and then I call it. Now that causes all sorts of grief, with the added benefit of everything that you're interpreting through eval gets compiled as if it was like compiled, which is awesome. So it doesn't get like interpreted; it's more compiled, so it has the opportunity to get JIT compiled, etc., etc. All these good things. But I don't have a way to install namespaces. So Racket has this business. So you can eval. All right, catch you later. Thanks for stopping in. So what we need to do is we need to implement a namespace object and then dynamically install that in order to resolve globals. This probably isn't going to work right away. I'm probably going to do something a little wrong and things aren't going to run. But I think there's a chance I could get something running, which is cool. Okay, so the first things first. First things first. Need to actually create a namespace. So I have a namespace function. So we're going to implement something like this. Because we need to be able to make this namespace in the first place. We'll just do something like this for now. Okay. So I think I just need to do okay. So let's actually like include this in the code. Okay. So let's check it out. Okay. Okay. That's not fast. It's kind of slow. That's kind of really slow. I'll try the release and see if it's faster. If that's how long it takes, it's kind of odd. But this is a debug build. Okay. Okay. Still building, still building. Okay, so what is a namespace? A namespace has an environment. Okay, so I'm going to have to install a namespace on the stack frames. How do I do that? It's still building. That's a crazy long build. Okay, we make a namespace, but I actually need to install it. So let's do, it's like eval with namespace. So I'm going to eval the program. We'll just dupe the code for now. Okay, eval the program. We'll say with namespace. Oh, it's still building. That's crazy. There we go. Okay, make namespace. Okay, it's kind of fast. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to eval this. We're going to eval this with a namespace. So we're going to pass the namespace in. I don't think this is going to work quite right, but we'll start. Okay. What's up, man? How's it going? Oh, don't start with me. Don't start with me. We did actually earlier today. Someone got pushed a fix for the Vim bindings. They're like very fleshed out now. Here, let me see. There's like a ton. Yeah, like someone implemented like all the functions. So like these are all the new bindings. I mean, there's some problems. It's not perfect yet. But someone was trying it out earlier and they were like the counts. So when you do like 3W or whatever, there was just a bug. They weren't like getting captured. The count wasn't getting captured right. So I pushed a fix like a couple hours ago and it works now. So now we just have to like change a few functions here and there and everything should be better. It's pretty sweet. We got users. Okay. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to implement eval, which I'm actually using your keyboard right now. I need to build mine. Maybe that's my next stream, build my keyboard. Okay. We need eval with namespace. Eval with namespace. This is tricky. The problem is it has to be called in tail position. That's the problem. It has to be a tail call. It's not very fun. Okay. So let's do eval program with namespace. We pass in a namespace. Namespace is cloned. Awesome. Okay, so after I call the function, I need to attachments. Okay, last dot attachments. How is the namespace arced? Okay. We will try this. Okay, so now when we invoke eval with namespace, we're going to okay. We're going to actually pass in a namespace. So let's try it. And then I'll just make sure that we're actually popping off the namespace accordingly before I actually install any namespace, because otherwise it's not going to work very well. Okay. Make namespace. Okay. We can make a namespace. Awesome. Okay. This is going to be namespace. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Okay. One more thing is close continuation marks. Close marks. Okay. So this gets invoked every time a frame gets popped off of the stack. It's kind of like a frame finalizer in a way. But if we install this right, we should be able to sort of just intercept the fact that even though we're calling this in tail position, et cetera, like when that context exits, we will automatically reinstall our base namespace. So this is exactly what dynamic what parameters do, if you're familiar with parameters. Except at this level of my interpreter, I don't have parameters. So I'm just implementing them from base principles, I guess. Because I don't have an evaluation handler. Kind of hand rolling everything. So let's do this. If let some attachments okay. This is going to need to be mutable now. Unreal, man. Unreal. It's called Gulp Shido 4.5. I think it beat Opus in the latest benchmarks or whatever they say. That's my favorite one. I don't even know what this code does. I wrote this years ago. Do I not wipe out all of these stack frames anyway? This is confusing. This is why I didn't tell you guys about this. It's just going to be nonsense in the chat. We're very in the weeds. I'm actually just getting rusted right now. So the problem. Okay, so we're trying to do. Okay. So I'll use a racket as an example. So in a racket, you can use eval. So you can like dynamically run code. So it'll say, all right, I'm evaling that. I mean, that's morally equivalent to this. But what's cool is to be able to run eval with a specific set of parameters, as in like a certain namespace is what it's called. So in Racket, at least by default, eval doesn't see that. So if I define like, I think if I do, oh, it does see it here. Let me actually, oh, it's because it's a top level form. I need to do it inside of a module. So it sees it here because I'm actually at the top level. But let's say define make base, let's see, namespace, make base namespace. Gotta disable those. There we go. I have a namespace. That's what I've defined. Now if I call eval, but I pass in the namespace, it does not know what foobar is because that base namespace doesn't exist. Or like foobar doesn't exist in the base namespace. So what I'm trying to do is do that. Because if I try to call eval with a namespace, it doesn't work yet in Steel because I haven't implemented it yet. So the way I'm trying to implement it is by putting namespaces as components or attachments, as I call them. Another term they use is like continuation marks. Is I'm trying to mark each stack frame in the VM so that when you eval something, as in like you're actually just running through the VM, we can do extra crap when that is popped off the stack. So I already do that, and that's how I've implemented continuations. But I need to do that. I need to do that for this in order to get this to work. So I started doing that, and now I'm just getting a classic Rust problem. Hey, what's up? So, what do I do with the stack frames after it here? I think the stack frame should be cleaned. Yeah, basically. So the namespaces effectively refer to what exists at the top level of whatever context you're in. You know, for a long time I didn't have any unsafe. And then I decided some things needed to be done. I've had quite a nice time writing unsafe Rust. All the tooling around it's pretty decent. If you use Miri pretty liberally, it works pretty well. But okay, so the namespaces in this case would be like, let's say you have the file like foo, and you're writing a bunch of stuff here. Like, if you were to look at what is in the namespace here, it's effectively anything that you could reference directly. So if I typed bar and bar is a free identifier, it doesn't exist. It's not in the namespace. But plus is, or equal, these are all in the namespace. So when this model gets this module gets evaluated, there's a bunch of implicit imports. So we can look at what those are. This is prelude, default prelude. So it would basically be all of this. So every file is effectively etc. And this brings in a bunch of stuff. And then all of the things that are just available by default in the global environment. So this comprises like a namespace, if you will. And you can think of a namespace as literally just like a key value pair of binding to value. Like that's morally what it is. Now, what's tricky though is that I actually don't have a representation for namespaces. Like Steel doesn't have them. They are not implemented yet. The way I implemented namespaces is that there aren't any. And that's kind of a problem in order to do this eval with namespaces thing. So I'm trying to implement them. So in this case, yes, it's like, it's a way to evaluate arbitrary code. It's a way to evaluate arbitrary code where you can say only make these bindings available though. That's what I'm trying to do. And unfortunately, up to this point, I've never thought, like, I thought about it and I've been procrastinating on it for years. But I think I have enough information to do it now. So I'm going to try, at least. Else, we'll try this. I don't know what happens here. This is my outer loop. I guess stack frames just have to be empty. If we have things on the stack, if we go in, we're in big problems. When does this get called? Only here? It's probably fine. Okay, so now let me just actually finish doing this. Man, this is annoying. Because I need it mutable. But this holds all the frames. We'll try something else. Actually, no, that's not going to work either. The problem is when I do this, I actually need to borrow the context mutably, but I also need the stack frames. I need to borrow both. Close continuation marks. Close continuation marks. Current frame, current frame. Last time I worked on continuation marks, I got very sad. It's really hard. It's just really difficult. Okay. Hmm. Try that. All right. Try that. Do I even use current frame? I don't even think I use it, but okay. Where is it borrowed mutably? Make thread. Okay. All right, one step at a time. Just get compiling. Now I just have to close the continuation marks on this. This is certainly something. right. We're compiling. It's certainly something. Now I actually need to do the right thing, though. So if let sum attachments equals stack frame dot attachments dot as ref dot, and then else. Attachments dot weak continuation mark as ref cont mark dot write dot close ctx. Then I'm also gonna check namespace equals attachments dot namespace. Okay. 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 Now we can run a test. So this isn't going to actually do anything yet with respect to the actual eval goal, but this should print some stuff. So first, eval with namespace. Let's make sure it's there. Awesome. Let's make a namespace. We have a namespace. It's a namespace. Eval. First, let's make sure eval is behaving. It is working. Eval with namespace. If I don't call this, it should say arity mismatch. Yes. That error message needs some love. And it worked. We found a namespace during continuation mark closing. So this is actually going to do something different than what we say it's going to do here. What we're going to do instead, this is going to cause all sorts of problems, by the way. I'm not going to get it working tonight. This is going to be a nightmare implementation. Yeah, this is going to be a nightmare, actually. I don't know why I chose to do this. I was inspired earlier. I was watching, I don't know. I don't know how to say his name, to be honest. The Jank creator, Jay Wilkerson or something. Saw he was streaming. Very cool. He's compiling Clojure to LLVM. Just like one of the coolest things I've seen someone try to undertake in a while. And I don't know, I was inspired. I was like, look, if he can do that, I can do this. Okay, so we're going to do... Let's try to actually just install the freaking namespace and see what havoc we can wreck. So, what is a namespace? That's really a great question. The reason I've been dancing around this for so long is that a namespace actually has like a lot of stuff in it. A namespace has... Well, okay, because I don't... like, I just have a flat global scope. And that global scope is implemented as like a shared vector that every thread has that I synchronize through all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. I wish I had an excuse to write Clojure, I guess. I only have so much time in the day, and at this point, it's any extra time is going towards steel. So I wish I had a reason. But it is really cool. I mean, I think it's incredibly admirable. Like any kind of C++ interop with something that's not C++ or C is, or Rust, I guess. It's pretty sweet. And then, you know, it's just cool because it's cool. I think, you know, it's hard and hard is cool. But okay, so for namespaces, the biggest issue is I don't have them. So I have to make it up. So the only thing that I actually keep around like during evaluation that it is carried across like compilations is one like the compiler holds a symbol map which has to be kept in sync with the global environment so that I don't do hashing. I ran into this a couple days ago and I fixed a couple of bugs with it. But the idea is I intern every symbol and that gets turned into an index in the global environment in which that symbol is mapped to. So if you reference a global, plus might be like 42, right? Like it maps to an index in the global namespace. There's no hashing involved at runtime. Those are fixed offsets. Now, in order to get this to behave, I will need to make a new env. But a new env can't live like a new global environment. A new global environment cannot live in isolation. It has to have the compiler associated with it. So I have to make a new compiler and attach that in the namespace too. Because that compiler holds the mapping to the global environment. At least it needs a symbol table. But those things kind of go hand in hand. And I don't have it very intertwined that I can just like hot swap them. So for now, if you make a new namespace, you're going to install a new environment and you're also going to install a new compiler. So what happens during mark closing is that we're going to have to... I have the same code in two spots. I do not know how to not... Yeah, because it's a stupid lexical BS. Because I'm trying to attach the thread, or grab the thread here. But I also need to pass it mutably here. So I just have the code duped for now until I figure out how to not have it duped. So what I need to do is basically take the global env and stash it, and also take the currently installed compiler and stash it. Throw that on the stack frames, push them on into the continuation mark, eval, and then when we're done, reinstall. Call it a day. That's it. That's the whole thing. So we make a namespace. Okay, let me just eval with namespace plus. Okay, it is in fact working. So now let's just frickin' do it. I don't know if this is gonna work. I feel like this only works if I'm genuinely popping it off. Because closing the marks doesn't necessarily mean I'm popping it off. I think I need a way to designate it. So we'll have to close continuation marks anytime we like exit the normal scope. So what that might mean is there are certain boundaries that I have drawn where continuations like don't work. And so I automatically close the continuation marks across those boundaries. And what that means is like it's really complicated, but the long story short is the way I've implemented continuation marks, or rather continuations. So a continuation, if you don't know, is actually just like the entire state, well, not the entire state, but a good chunk of the state of the program, like put into an object and you carry it around. So as it turns out, like on the left here, we have a closed continuation. And on the right, we have like the state of the VM. And guess what? They look like almost exactly the same. Shocker. And that's because you can close, when I say close a continuation, I lazily capture the continuation. So what I'll do is I install marks when you start a continuation, and until that continuation is actually like used, I don't actually construct that continuation object. What I do is instead, if you try to call a continuation that's quote still open, we just jump backwards on the stack instead. So it's just kind of like a backwards jump. And what that means is I don't have to like allocate all this crap that I need to do. And instead it's all in place already. So we don't need to do anything. If we cross a boundary where we're kind of like exiting the control, then we need to close the continuations. Well, what we're doing though is we're not doing that. We're not doing continuations. We're doing something different. But I'm overriding the marks. So I don't necessarily want it in every context. I really only want it when the frames are truly exited. So let's see when that is. We set the state from the continuation. See closing marks when setting the state from the continuation. Okay, well, let's not worry about all of the use cases because some of these are really complicated. But I'm going to handle, I think, the more straightforward ones. So I think it's like handle pop. We just call close continuation marks. We're duping so much code. It's no good. Close marks by value. Great. Just copying all the code. Let's just start here. By value. by value. I'm not catching all of them. It's fine. Let's just get it working here. Do I need the IP during this? I do. Let IP equal last IP as something or another. Cool. Let's try that. Okay. I guess I don't actually need to pass it by value. So everything I just did was like not necessary. I just want to pass by value, or I want to designate the fact that we're passing by value. Do something a little bit different here. Duped the code, duping the code everywhere. That's fine. Come back to it. So now this is where I need to actually install this env attachments.namespace. And we're going to set the compiler as well. Okay, it seems to work. And now with, what is it, eval with namespace. Great. So now I'm not actually passing this namespace in like I'm doing here. I'm not trying to call with this namespace. I need to replace the I need to make a new namespace. Or actually no. We need to do standard mem swap. Global env namespace dot env. Okay. Let's see if this works. I don't think it's gonna work, but it might. All right. This is my super crash and burn. Okay. Super crash and burn. Pretty sure I know why too. That's good. At least I know why. Okay, so the reason is that I compiled with the old. I compiled with the old compiler. And I need to compile with the new compiler. That might be a little better. I think it's still going to have some problems. Because I think it's going to find that plus just simply doesn't exist. But that's certainly something. Okay, so that's something. Plus doesn't exist. Okay, plus doesn't exist. Now I need to make plus exist. How do I make plus exist? So let's see. I don't actually know how you manipulate. Well, would you look at that? There's literally a section in the Racket docs called manipulating namespaces. I was about to say, I don't know how to manipulate namespaces. Creating and installing namespaces. Great. Make empty namespace. That's basically what I have. There's nothing in it. I mean, I guess I can try a silly example. Okay, we didn't okay, see we did not reinstall the namespace correct or everything correctly. Because now I'm hosed and I can't do anything. Can't even quit. Well, I guess I could control D, but okay. So we ended up getting here. Oh, because I didn't actually call this. I undid it. I undid it. Okay, so let's say this works. Okay, so I make a new namespace. We're going to say define x is 10. Found a namespace. Okay, so we're still in this phase. Where do we call this? Closing all continuation marks. I mean, this must be... I mean, we're not using them anymore. We're not using them anymore. Let's try this. Okay, we make a namespace, we define it. How are we still getting here? I don't get it. I mean, that's setting the state from the continuation. Close marks. Okay. We're closing our marks. Where do we call this? Okay, that's one spot. Okay. Where do I close all continuation marks? I'm befuddled. Found a namespace during continuation mark closing. Okay. Okay, we're calling this function. Where are all the places where I call this? Close continuation marks. Fine. There's too many files, too big, too many things. I'm just being dumb. Let's try this now. Okay. X doesn't exist. Quit exists. We're back. But now if I just eval X, free identifier. Okay. It's progress though. Oh, but we erred, so we didn't reinstall. Okay, I know that. I know I didn't implement everything right, but that's fine. Okay, so now what's the problem? Okay, the problem is the namespace or the global environment is copy on write. It is not in place mutation. Which is really annoying. Because now if I pass the environment in, we do something with the environment, I need to go back to the thing that I got it from and reset it up. Except I can't do that. Because it's copy on write. I mean, I probably can. All right. Let's make it work, and then I'll worry about how ugly it is. Okay. So now we have this namespace. Oh, there's going to be so many cycles. Basically, when I'm here, I want to update the existing weekly referenced namespace in order to yeah, because these environments are copy on write, but luckily this environment should only be installed like one time. So as we pop it off, we should be able to yoink it, throw it back. That's what I love to hear. Another day, another steel stream. I was on top of things today. Went for a run, walked the dog, made dinner, hopped on the stream, cranking out some steel. It's good stuff. That's right. Best stream, best cranker. Ugh. I'm surprised they let you use that username. That one didn't get caught by the filter. No, don't start with it. Just don't start with the AI talk, man. I updated my bio on Twitch to have handcrafted artisanal code. The only bots that exist are the bots that I hand implement for my Settlers of Catan. That's it. Those are the only bots. Oh, why did I have to make the environment copy on write, man? This sucks. How do I do this? All right, we're going to have like turbo memories or reference count cycles, I think. I'm trying to think. I think, do I need like a linked list of environments? Basically, what I need to do here is grab the old or grab the existing environment, put it back in. No, I don't. No, I don't. We have epiphanies. We have epiphanies. It's gonna suck a lot. It's gonna suck a lot what I'm about to do. That's true. I probably should do that. That's a good idea. People love Rust. But then everyone's going to come in and be like, oh my God. And then say some shit about Rust. I mean, like, isn't it so hard? Isn't it like really hard to write? And I'll be like, kind of, but also not really. I did stream Settlers of Catan Dev 2 days ago. I did like a solid, and the day before that, I think. I don't remember. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I think I'm going to do, I need to get a little bit more working on the UI, and then I'll stream, and I don't really want to stream the UI stuff. It's such a chore. Freaking drawing all the boxes and stuff, but I might. But I'm going to stream writing the bots because that's fun. Writing the bots is really fun because I'm almost set up where the bots can just play each other. And I think that would be exceptionally fun for whatever reason to write. Okay, so when I eval the program and I install, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's just whatever I'm feeling that day. Who knows? Maybe I'm playing Counter-Strike one day. Who's to say? Who is to say? Although people be saying some shit in Counter-Strike, you gotta be really careful. Gotta keep your teammates muted. We're the same. I also have like 3K hours, 3,600 these days. I basically got 3,300 hours in through college, or till my junior year. Between high school and my junior year of college, I had 3,300 hours, and then I just didn't play. I just quit, and I didn't play. And I played a few months ago. I played for like a couple weeks, and I had a good time because I got some friends to play, so I just would 5Q a bunch, which was a good time. But I'm not solo queuing. It's yeah, I know we're the same. What was your highest rank? What did you achieve? If anything. If you want to share. You don't have to share. Was that okay, well, depends when you quit. When did you stop playing? Because there's some shit with the ranks. LEM used to mean something. Yeah, because I hit Supreme or Global. I don't remember, for like one day, and then I didn't play matchmaking, and then I lost it, and then I like came back and it just threw me in like Nova or something ridiculous, and then I didn't play Go anymore. And then we were only playing Face It and ESEA for a long time. And my peak was we made main. It is where the fun is at. I loved playing on friends' accounts. When you drop like 55 kills in a match and everyone's calling you a cheater, it feels amazing. I mean, it feels bad because you're ruining their day. Yeah, you're ruining their day, but it is fun for the brief 25 minutes. Yeah, I made main, and then I got cut from my team because I had classes at night. And they were like, we need someone who can be committed and practice all the time. And I was like, that's freaking crazy. This is like a Counter-Strike team. And I had classes on like Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 to 9 or something. And then that team immediately disbanded. They made it like 6 games into the season and then disbanded. I know. Could have gone pro. I made $67. That's the 6-7. I don't know how many. I don't remember. I'm on esportsearnings.com. That's all I know. Let me see. Let's see. Search. $66. Excuse me. One off something special right there. Okay, let me finish this. I was worried about copy on write. And I was worried about it. Nice. No, it's all good. One day we'll queue up. We'll queue up in Counter-Strike. We'll go pro. Nothing can stop us. Okay. This is what I was worried about. That these namespaces are named. I can't. I think I just, you know what? Throw it in a mutex. I don't care. Just put it behind a mutex. Whatever. Just put it mutex new. Just put it behind a mutex. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Oh. You mean like this? It's a steel plugin. Sorry, someone implemented it. It's a Helix plugin. Written in steel. It's beautiful. I do need to figure out how to make it bigger, but you can't like make a arbitrarily larger font. So hold on, the dog is scratching at the door. He left. He was pissed. Oh, he's back. Hold on. This is Sherman. Oh, yeah. He wants to climb. Oh, my God. He wanted to climb on the desk. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Make my namespace. Success. Successfully define something. Okay, that didn't work again. It didn't work. This is devastating. I thought I had it this time. God. I thought I had it. Okay, so what is the problem? I think the problem is... Oh, I do know what the problem is. Actually. I think. This is cloning everything. Yes, I do know what the problem is. Okay. I was copying when I needed to pass. Cannot bar. Are you serious? Oh, wait. Okay, come on. Come on. Let's compile. Please. Okay. Oh my god, this is exhausting. It's a triple pun. And I can't say that the pun is very good. So unironically, when I named it, I didn't know that SBCL existed. So that one's on me. That's my bad. Where it came from was I was in a class, we were learning Rust, and we had to come up with a project at the end of the quarter for the last 6 weeks of the quarter, or I guess it was like the last month. The last month of the quarter was just like implement something. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't explicitly it kind of was a Rust class, but it was like systems programming, but in Rust. So instead of writing C++, we were writing Rust. So then you spent like the first week or two like learning Rust, and then you did like very performance sensitive work for a couple weeks. Like there were a handful of assignments that you wanted to implement. You had to do them in Rust, so there's a learning curve there. And then in the last month, they were like, all right, write something, literally anything, write anything. But the stipulation was it needed to be like useful in some way. Wasn't just like, don't just like goof around, try to make something useful. And at the same time, I was in a class doing racket stuff. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to make a little embedded scheme interpreter? So then we made, we at first we called it Rucket, which was horrible, but it was like Rust Racket, and we thought it was funny. And then that lasted all of like 3 days. And then we were like, let's come up with a better name. So it is, first, yes, Steel, because Rust, even though Rust I don't think is actually named after metal. It's like a fungus or something, but whatever. So that's one. But also the guy who invented Scheme is Guy Steele with an E. And then also there is a pun. I guess like a bunch of schemes are always named after, like, you know, you have scheme, you have larceny, you have racket. So like crime things, I guess. And we were like, isn't it funny? Because steal is like stealing. Which is awful. Like, it's not a good triple pun, but it was funny. We were in college. I thought it was funny. Yeah, it just sounds like steal. It works. It's fun. Although I just learned. So when I went, yeah, and I stole the idea from Jank, right? When I went to go publish steel like years ago on crates, someone had been squatting steel. So I just couldn't use the package name steel, obviously. They'd been squatting it. They had published an empty README. They'd published an empty README like 8 years ago. And so I'm like, great, can't get that name. And I went to, someone asked me to publish a new version of Steel a few weeks ago, and I've been procrastinating on it because there's a bunch of shit I have to do first. And I went to go through it, or I went to go do it, and I discovered a crypto company bought the Steel package from them. So now, if you cargo install Steel, you get some like crypto shit. It's like I can't win. This shit's insane. First, I should have bought it from this guy, number one, or asked or something. But I didn't think about it. But if you cargo install Steel, you're in for you're not getting this. You're getting some other crypto thing. I don't know what it is. Just some. You know, I probably should have done that. I didn't know at the time. But you know what? It is what it is. I have Steel Core, which is what you need for embedding, and is very documented that it's Steel Core. So it is what it is. But you know what? It's fine. Okay, let me get this working. I'm yapping. Okay. The problem is now it wants a namespace. And I'm making a new one. But really... Okay. Okay. What am I freaking doing here? Okay. I'm putting it on the namespace. We're evaling. I put the namespace on. I need to attach the namespace. But I need to actually make a namespace. And I've swapped out the namespaces because I wanted to put that there. But now I'm passing... This is hard as hell. I'm getting... This is... I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm arbitrarily adding more arcs and mutexes until it behaves. I mean, I know exactly what I'm trying to do, but... Okay. We're going to do Steel namespace, boom. Boom. Yes. So the long story short is yes. Um, yeah, I plan. Oh, scheme specs end in RS. That's a. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't really care about um I don't personally care about the spec and being beholden to it. Other people care, which is good. I respect the spec. I like when I'm implement like I have implemented the scheme spec largely, and I respect the fact that other people respect, like, I respect the spec. That's full stop. I personally don't really care that there is a spec. Like, it doesn't influence like my decision making. Um since my goal with all of this is that I generally just I want to implement everything from scratch. Like, that's my whole the point that I do it. Like, I think the point of being compliant with the spec is that you can inherit all of this extra code that other people have written so that you don't have to do it. And that, like, you can write it once and all these different implementations can run it. I don't find myself using other people's code. I've often gone and looked at, like, the SRFIs, I think they're called, the scheme requests for implementations. I've used some of them, but largely speaking, anytime I want something within Steel, I just write it myself. Unless I'm like yoinking a benchmark or something where I'm trying to like do some stress testing for performance and I want to compare it against something else. So, in general, yeah, my plan is to implement a lot more than just what's in the spec. Okay. Am I using any test suite? Oh, like comparing it to R5 RS or R7 RS? Is that what you're saying? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I have a huge test suite. Um Reasonably large. Could be better, obviously, but it's if you're there's an R5 RS test suite and it passes all but like one thing. No, Racket does not. I mean, the biggest thing is Racket doesn't even have mutable pairs. Neither does Steel, which means that you kind of write off like a big chunk of scheme, or scheme code rather. There's a lot of code out there that uses mutable pairs, especially older code that's been around for a long time. But like I pass a I think there's a one thing in the macro system I haven't implemented for R5, but otherwise I pass like the Chibi scheme test suite. So I think I ported it. Let's see. Yeah, I took the Chibi scheme and I ported it to Steel, and I pass all but one. I think it's like something to do with macros. I don't quite remember. I'd have to go back and look. And then I also started porting the R7 test suite. Haven't gotten around to finishing it. But if you're familiar, there are some... I know. Unfortunately, it takes a long time. There's a... Oh, let me find it. It's R7RS benchmarks. There's this, which are... It's like a port of the larceny benchmarks. And, you know... They set up this whole test suite and benchmark framework and everything, and they rank them all. I can run almost all of these. So there's a few that don't work because they use mutable pairs. So I've kind of written those off for now. But in general, if it doesn't use mutable pairs, either it like works out of the box with steel, or you need to tinker with a couple things here or there. But in general, like, I've implemented a bunch of it. So, like, anything that's under, like, R7RS benchmarks, like, all of these work. And if you're wondering the performance, so I didn't have a JIT for a long time until recently. So, no steel, no JIT. Steel sits probably somewhere like here in the like somewhere down here for like most of the benchmarks. It's not going to it again, no JIT, it's not going to compare. It's not going to compare with these, since these are all, these all compile to native. But I was pretty competitive in this ballpark down here for almost all the benchmarks. Some of them I was near the top, depending on like what the benchmark was, of course. But with the JIT added, I'm usually about chicken scheme. Depends on the benchmark, and also some of them, some things aren't as optimized as other things, but we get there. I should add Rust. How do I? What do we mean by adding Rust to the stream? What do we mean by that? How do I do that? Are there like tags or some shit? Do people like that? How do I do it? I can do it right now. Tags. Okay, hold on. Oh shit, you're right. If I tag it with Rust, is that going to be Rust the video game? Or is it Rust the language? We'll just do Rust. We'll do Racket. Racketeering. That's fun. I didn't even know about the tags, I'll be honest. Rust, Racket. We'll hit him with a little Lisp. Maybe a little scheming. Scheming is fun. Coding. We'll hit him with a little coding. Hit him with a little Helix. Flex on him a little bit. Okay. I need to finish this shit, or I'm going to lose my mind. Generics and Steel. I have enough issues with the Java generics, all right? Pissing me off. Okay. What am I doing? Now I introduced a billion errors. Don't we love that? Namespace, lock, unwrap, compiler, as ref, write, symbol wrap. Just good stuff. Okay. What the fuck am I doing? This is already... Oh my god. Okay. I need to do this again. He followed. It's fine. Okay. I'm already arc mutexing this shit. This needs to be a steel namespace. Okay. The people, that's what the people want. The people want scheming. The problem is this file is like 8,000 lines long. Okay. So now this namespace, now I can pass by value. Okay. I got it. I need to get this working. Okay. So now this is give me namespace dot namespace dot clone. Oh man, come on. Let's compile. Steal namespace. Okay, so now and then if this compiles, we're cooking. Are we compiling? No. How about now? Need more tags? Need more tags? I'm top 15 in the world. That's huge. All right. Let's do it. Make a namespace. Eval with namespace. We've done it. But now let's see. We've done it. Eval with namespace. It works. It's huge. Okay, now the problem is it has no functions. All while yapping. Imagine I was locked in though, you know? Imagine I was completely locked in. I mean, what's my diff looking like? I did like copy paste 8 functions over and over again. Yeah, like that's all copy pasted. That's complete trash. Okay, so now what? I need to be able to like add functions to this environment, because otherwise it is not very helpful. Also, I don't think macros are going to work here. I have no idea how macros work in Racket namespaces. Macros are the worst. I mean, they're awesome, but I wonder, do macros even work here? I mean, they probably do. I mean, I can just like try it, I guess. I guess I can just say like make, what is it? Namespace? Creating and installing namespaces. Make base empty namespace. Okay. It literally has nothing. Maybe just make base namespace would be where I want to start. Okay, that at least has something. So let's make a define syntax, foo syntax rules. We'll just say like foo of x is gonna turn into, it's just gonna turn into x. Okay. Actually, macros will work. What am I smoking? I mean, macros will work here too. I hope so. There we go. I'm sick. He's the best to ever do it. That's actually amazing. I'm shocked that this freaking works at all. Oh, I gotta let Sherman out. This is crazy. Can't believe this works. All right, so now what? I need to like add functions to a namespace. How do I do that? Okay, at least how do you export or provide bindings to a namespace? Some modules must be attached by transitively copying entries, the module and all its imports from an existing namespace's mapping. Normally, instead of just attaching the primitive modules whose names and organization are subject to change, a higher level module is attached, such as Racket or Racket Base. The make base empty namespace function provides a namespace that is empty except that Racket Base is attached. I didn't think I'd get this far. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think I'd get this far. As a result, I really have no idea what to do now. I need to provide functions. But how? I literally can't. Like functions, like user defined functions have to be like reloaded entirely because they can't be evaluated. They don't, the namespaces don't map. That's tricky. Hmm. This is also bespoke. I need to study. I need to study this. How does like eval with namespace guile? How does that work? Come on, zoom in. Oh. Hooks for garbage collection. I guess like I can't define a function and be like put this thing in the namespace. I would have to like reload the namespace entirely unless I have to like cuz how would it evaluate it? It simply doesn't know about it. Unless I could rewrite the functions? Huh. This is all very tricky. Sharing data and code across namespaces. All right. They knew I would have these questions. Loads again. When dynamically loaded code needs to share more code and data with this context, use the namespace attach module function. First argument in namespace attach module is a source namespace from which to draw a module instance. In some cases, the current namespace is known to include the module that needs to be shared. How the heck does it... How would that work? Connects the runtime of a module with the namespace in which a module is loaded. It might differ from the current namespace. In the above example, since the enclosing module requires racket class and namespace, this is gibberish. I don't understand. This is gibberish. This is gibberish. This is gibberish. Scripting evaluation and using load. I feel like the problem here is that I somehow need to like cross a boundary, but I don't think I can just arbitrarily cross a boundary. I think it needs to be like recompiled straight up, which would mean reloading. Like if two namespaces need a module, both want a module, I think I have to reload it in the namespace, which maybe is completely fine. Modules not attached to a new namespace will be loaded and instantiate afresh as demanded. This is tricky. Copies the module instance from the source namespace to the target namespace. All right. You know, it might be a problem for another day. Might be a problem for another day. I'm shocked this even works. It's not completely done yet. I'll need to clean the code up a little bit more, but I think I'll call it for now. Let's go ahead and perhaps stash this somewhere. All right, cool. I think that's going to be it for me on the stream, though. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. Otherwise, hope you all have a good night. I'll catch y'all later.